All right, let's dive in. Today, we're jumping into the incredible and, let's be honest, sometimes kind of weird world of the psychologist Carl Jung. And why should you care? Because he basically created a map for the most complex, most important territory you will ever navigate, your own mind. This isn't just dry theory, it's a practical guide to figuring out what really makes you tick.
So Jung kicks things off with this absolute bombshell of a quote. I mean, really think about that for a second. He's saying that there are these hidden forces deep down inside of you that are secretly running the show. They're shaping your choices, your moods, your relationships, and if we never bother to look at them, we just shrug and call it fate, as if we have no control at all.
But what if you could see those forces? What if you could actually understand them and work with them instead of being pushed around by them? Jung believed you absolutely can. He gave us the map, and in this explainer, we're going to learn the basics of how to read it. This is the start of the adventure.
To make sense of all this, we're going to use a framework, a story you already know by heart, even if you don't realize it, the hero's journey. You've seen it in 1,000 movies and myths, but Jung's big insight was that the most epic, most important version of this story isn't happening on a screen, it's happening inside you, right now.
Okay, so every good adventure starts with a map, right? You gotta know the lay of the land. So our first stop is to get a handle on the landscape of the mind, according to Jung.
And Jung gives us the perfect way to visualize this, an iceberg. Everything you're aware of right now, your thoughts, your feelings, you listening to me, that's just the tiny little tip of the iceberg sticking out of the water. The real power, the immense weight and momentum, the stuff that's really steering the ship is all hidden down below the surface.
So, right at the very top, sticking out of the water, is what Jung called the persona. This is basically your collection of social masks. You've got your professional self for work, your fun friend self, your dutiful family self. It's the polished, acceptable version of you that you show everyone. It's super useful, for sure, but it's not the whole you, not even close.
Okay, now right there at the water's edge, that's your ego. This is the part you think of as you. It's the CEO of your conscious mind, the part that says, I think, I feel, I am. It's the gatekeeper, constantly making decisions about what's safe to show the world from your persona and what needs to be kept hidden down below. And then, well, then there's the rest of it, this massive, hidden part of the iceberg that is the unconscious. This is a deep, dark ocean of everything you've ever forgotten, repressed, or just ignored. It's where your deepest instincts, your rawest emotions, and your biggest fears all live. And according to Jung, it's where the real treasure, and maybe some monsters, are hidden.
So, you've got your map. Now, every hero's journey has that first big test, right? That first monster they have to face. Well, on this inner journey, that challenge has a name. It's called the shadow. Let me ask you something, and be honest with yourself. Think about that one person. You know the one. The person who is just too loud, or too needy, or too arrogant. The person who, for whatever reason, just absolutely drives you up the wall. Why do they get under your skin so much?
Well, Jung had a fascinating, if a little uncomfortable, answer for this. He called it psychological projection. Basically, the things that make you want to scream about someone else are often the very things you've refused to look at in yourself. They're parts of your own shadow that you've pushed so far down you can only see them when they're reflected back at you in somebody else.
But here's the kicker, and this is so important. The shadow isn't evil, not at all. It's just everything that's been disowned. So yeah, it's where you've stuffed your anger and your selfishness, but it could also be where you've stuffed away your creativity because someone told you it was silly, or your ambition because you were told not to be bossy. It has gold in it too.
I love this analogy because it makes it so clear. You know, we all have that cat side, our persona. It's gentle, sociable, the part that wants to be liked. But inside every single one of us, there's also a tiger, a fierce, powerful, instinctual self. That's the shadow. And the point of the journey isn't to kill the tiger. It's to acknowledge it, respect it, and learn how to ride it.
Okay, so how in the world do we even begin to communicate with these hidden parts of ourselves, with the tiger? Well, according to Jung, one of the most direct lines of communication we have is through our dreams. He saw them as a kind of secret language, messages mailed from the deep unconscious directly to our conscious mind.
Jung had these 4 big truths about dreams. First, they are brutally honest. Your ego might lie to you all day long, but your dreams? They don't.
Second, they're symbolic. They don't speak in literal facts, they speak in pictures and metaphors. Third, they're therapeutic. They're literally trying to heal you, to balance you out while you sleep. And finally, every dream is an invitation. It's your deeper self knocking on the door, asking you to please pay attention.
Let's take a super common example. I bet some of you have had this one. The dream where you are just falling and falling and falling, and you wake up with a jolt right before you hit the ground.
So what's going on here? Your unconscious isn't predicting you're going to trip and fall. No, it's speaking in symbols. It's giving you the feeling of falling to signal that somewhere in your real life, maybe your career, maybe a relationship, you feel a terrifying loss of control. The dream is like a flashing red light on your dashboard, screaming, hey, pay attention to this.
So, the hero has the map. They face the shadow, they've started to listen to their dreams. Now comes the final part of the journey, the return. But the hero doesn't just come back to where they started. They come back changed. They come back more whole. And this is how it all fits together into that classic hero's journey pattern. First, there's the call. That's you deciding to leave your comfort zone and actually explore this inner world. Then comes the trial. That's the hard work of facing your shadow. And finally, the return, where you come home to yourself, integrating all these new discoveries to become a more authentic, complete person.
In this whole process, this grand goal of the journey, Jung gave it a specific name: individuation. It's the lifelong journey of becoming a true individual. And that doesn't mean being separate from everyone. It means becoming indivisible, meaning you can't be divided against yourself anymore. It's not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming whole.
Now look, this whole thing, it's not a walk in the park. It requires those classic hero virtues. You need the courage to look in the mirror, to really look. You need the responsibility to own what you see there, the good and the bad. And you need to be willing to sacrifice, to let go of the limited person you thought you were, so you can become the whole person you were always meant to be. And really, that's what this is all about. We've looked at the map, but the journey, that's all you. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about finally, fully becoming yourself. So the question I want to leave you with is this: you are the hero of your own story. What's your next step?